I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're exploring a beautiful book. It is called A Romance with the Exotic Madrona, Alias of the Arbutus, by Dr. Roy W. Martin. It is a journey into the captivating world of the arbutus trees. In this beautifully illustrated book with wonderful pictures, the doctor shares his worldwide travels and discoveries about these stunning trees, presenting over 200 photos and fascinating insights. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Doctor, great to see you here today on Spotlight.
Well, I'm very happy to be here.
Great to have you on the show. This is a beautiful book. When did your romance with these beautiful trees begin?
Well, I guess it was approximately 5 years ago, after I retired from the university, and we moved to where we live now, which is Anacortes, which is about 70 miles north of Seattle, where the University of Washington is, that's where I was a professor. And just started running into these trees, and they were beautiful. I started taking photos of them when we were traveling in with our boat up in the Gulf Islands, and they grow right along the islands, reaching out over the water to get the sun. So, yeah. And they're all different shapes, and so my wife said, "Well, what are you doing with it? What are you going to do with all these pictures?" And so I didn't know at that time, but I wound up putting them in this book, and I wanted to share them with other people. Yeah. And then actually when I started studying, I found out there was a lot of other arbutus species around the world, and a lot of them in the United States, particularly Texas, for example. And so then I wanted to travel and see these and see how they differed. And that took us on a lot of trips, unplanned.
Well, it's a good reason to travel. It's kind of like a photo safari, like let's go check out the trees here and the trees there. And since they're largely coastal, right? They're growing in some beautiful places.
Well, they are, yes. They like a Mediterranean kind of climate to some extent. And I believe they grow along the ocean a lot because they can compete with some of the other trees. The other trees, grow quickly and get very tall and block out the sunshine. And along the
around, right?
Yeah, around the coast, they can, they're kind of like a cordial tree. They don't try to push to the very top.
Right.
They like to look around for some sunshine peeking through.
Exactly.
Canopy, and consequently they twist as they grow. Obviously their growth is over years, but I found them real intriguing to take pictures of.
Yeah, absolutely. And your pictures are beautiful. What are some of the locations you travel to study these trees?
Well, of course, the obvious one is right along the Pacific coast here in Canada, into British Columbia and down along California. And then went to Texas. That's one of the places we went. And wound up in Baja California. And there I went on a mule ride up into the mountains to take pictures of them, because they like a certain amount of moisture, which is not available at the base part of the mountains there in Baja. And then you have to go up where the rain comes down. So the best way to go is by mules. And that's what I did. There was another interesting place was in the Mediterranean. We saw some, and in Egypt, for example, not Egypt, but I mean Israel, and the Canary Islands. That was a very interesting place.
Yeah. Well, this pursuit of these trees has taken you to some of the most beautiful places on Earth, which is great. Can you tell us a little bit about the giant madrones that grow in the Pacific Northwest?
Yes, okay. Uh, you know, why do they get so big here?
Yeah.
I guess it's kind of like, why are the redwoods so big? The environment is is it helps for that, and so
Mhm.
uh, in California, for example, and in the Sonora country, they get some real big ones. We saw one that was about 10 feet in size, uh, at the diameter at the base. And so I think that they like this environment. And if you leave them alone, if they're left alone, they keep on growing and get bigger and bigger. And so there was a very large one here in Washington, out towards the coast, on Port Angeles, and that's in the book. And fortunately, I was able to catch it
Yeah.
before it died. They do die because that one was like 400 years old.
Wow.
So,
Amazing. Amazing. And tell us a little bit about some of the seasonal changes that these trees go through.
yes, okay. Well, uh, there. I'll talk about the ones that grow around here, and they go through in spring. They start getting ready to bloom, and they bloom,
Mhm.
and then uh, that lasts probably 2 weeks or so, and then they get a little more growth. That's a kind of a growth spurt after that, and then some of the leaves drop off at that point in time, and then they continue growing during the summer and develop berries, uh, and they grow all summer. During the summertime, the the bark tends to peel
Mhm.
and turn red like, so that gives it a very interesting color, and then it peels off, the very thin peels. Uh, the And then towards fall, as I say, they develop berries. Actually, I have a sample here to show you.
Are these edible?
Well, the Indians used to eat them. They're not real tasty,
Right.
but these are the Pacific berries
Right.
from, and
They're
then
pretty. They're good looking berries, right?
yeah, they are, yeah,
Yeah.
and the that adds color.
It adds to the beauty of the tree between the
Yeah,
orange bark and the bright red berries and yeah, and the unusual shapes. I
right.
think yeah, that all adds to the mystique and the beauty of them, no doubt. Did your background in engineering influence your approach to studying these trees at all?
Well, not too much, I don't think. I just became intrigued by them.
Yeah.
Most engineers don't have any study in biology, so
Right.
that's not doesn't seem like a natural fit. But
Exactly.
when I worked in bioengineering,
Hmm.
I had to learn lots of medicine, and because of the things we were working on there. So when I got involved with biology here, I just had to dig in and brush up on a lot of biology I hadn't learned in engineering school.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, you don't learn about a lot of trees in engineering school, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
What do you hope readers take away from this book?
Well, I, I hope they enjoy the excitement and interest that I got in when I found them and discovered them. Seeing the pictures, taking the trips with me, if you will, to different places, and seeing things during the season, how they change as much as you can. That is one difficulty with tree, like Texas or something, for example. when you're not there, you could try to go at a certain time to see
Mm-hmm.
them blooming or what, but you don't see the whole trend of throughout the year of the changes. But where I live, of course, I could do that easily.
Yeah.
One of the surprises I had was a tree that's sort of native to Spain
Mm-hmm.
and England and Ireland, and that's the Arbutus unido.
Mm-hmm.
And that tree has it propagates easily. So people have brought it to the United States, and it's became a very popular bush to have, for decorative purpose. And that's an unusual tree in that it flowers in the fall and also has berries in the fall. And the berries grow throughout the entire year. So they get quite big. So I actually have a couple of samples here.
Sure.
This is, since it's fall,
Mm-hmm.
I guess you can see that, all right?
I can see it. Yep.
Yeah. So you see these white blossoms.
Yep. Almost look like pearl onions on my screen. Yeah.
So each one turns into a berry if it's pollinated. And then at the same time, the berries are growing, and they can get quite large.
Yeah.
Inch in diameter, just for contrast here.
Yeah, big difference. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
3 or 4 times, 5 times the size. Yeah.
And so turns out, I was very surprised to find these growing.
Yep.
Right by the marina where I have my boat. And
Wonderful.
So,
well, it's a nice discovery right in your own backyard, so to speak, right? Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, your interest and your love of this tree has really blossomed, to borrow a phrase, into something really great. This collection of pictures and prose that you have in this book, and an excuse to travel anywhere these beautiful trees grow. I think that's a great pursuit. And I'm so happy you documented your travels and your pictures in this book. It is called A Romance with the Exotic Madrona, Alias of the Arbutus, by Dr. Roy W. Martin. It is a journey into the captivating world of the arbutus trees. In this beautifully illustrated book, the doctor shares his worldwide travels and discoveries about these stunning trees, presenting over 200 photos and fascinating insights as well. Doctor, thank you so much for joining me here today on Spotlight.
You're very welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you on the show. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.